Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the year 2020, Pakistan released a new political map in which it claimed some parts of Indian state of Gujarat for itself. These are Manavadar and Junagadh, and this raises the obvious question: why? Why did Pakistan claim territories which are not even linked to it by land, although by sea it's possible? And what does Pakistan really have to do with these lands? To answer this question, we have to go back to the British Raj. So the British did not rule all of Indian subcontinent directly. In fact, a large portion, around 40% of it, was given over to local princes. These princes were very loyal to the British and would do whatever the British demanded. And one of these states was Junagadh. Fast forward to 1947, each prince was given three options. He could become independent, he could join Pakistan, or join India, although the Governor General told each and every prince that you cannot really be independent because your nearest dominion will force you in if you reject their offer. First, they will tell you come, later, they will force you, and you don't have the strength to resist. And that kind of happened later on. In 1947, Junagadh state had three vassal states, along with the main state itself. So it controlled three states indirectly, you could say. These states, Mangrol, Babriawad, and Madhwa-Manavdar, were not independent. They came under Junagadh, and they all had their autonomous leaders. Babriawad was ruled by a leader, a prince, and Mangrol had a prince called Sheikh of Mangrol, and Bantwa-Manavdar was ruled by the Nawab of Junagadh's relatives. In 1947, Nawab Muhammad Muhammad Khanji III was Nawab of Junagadh. On 15 August 1947, he decided to accede to Pakistan with the advice of his Diwan, his Prime Minister Sir Shah Nawaz Bhutto. And on 16 December 1947, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, officially accepted the accession of Junagadh state. That being said, the Nawab decided to put his Diwan in charge of the affairs and decided to travel to Pakistan's capital, Karachi, which he did. And by 1st November, India sent troops in Junagadh. On 9th November, all of Junagadh was officially annexed within the Indian Union because India was claiming the territory for itself as it was surrounded by India on all sides on land. On 10th November 1947, India's Prime Minister Nehru sent a telegram to Pakistan's Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan informing him that Indian forces had taken complete control of Junagadh the previous day to maintain order. Liaquat Ali Khan replied that he had violated Pakistan's territorial sovereignty because India had no right to do anything to a state that had officially joined Pakistan, and said that this was a violation of international law. But India, on the other hand, came up with lots of excuses for why it should control Junagadh. They claimed that Junagadh had a Hindu majority, and Jinnah himself said that Muslims and Hindus can't live together, so we should have this state. And they did not even wish to talk about the prince and his choices. And also, there was another reason, which many people don't really know. Babriabad and Mangrol states were dependent, they were not independent, and the end of British Raj did not give them independence from Junagadh. And that's why what happened was that Babriabad and Mangrol both declared independence and joined India. The Nawab of Junagadh told them, you cannot declare independence because I don't approve it, and you're going with me to Pakistan. When they refused, he sent in Junagadh troops. And when this happened, India said, you are invading our princely states, and so we're gonna invade yours. So they invaded the Nawab's territory. And it was during this confusion that India annexed the whole state of Junagadh. It is not really known why the princes of Babriabad and Mangrol chose to join India, but most likely they did it because they were surrounded by India on all sides. On 10th November 1947, India had to hold a referendum, but fun fact, it was pretty much biased referendum because only 10% of the Muslim population and 30% of the non-Muslim population was allowed to take part. The rest weren't, or some say they didn't take part or whatsoever. Long story short, less than 50% of the population actually participated in the referendum, and the outcome was over 90% was in favor of India, but Pakistan said it's biased and they refused to trust whatever the Indians said. And the problem was that Nehru purposely also chose not to postpone the referendum because he did not want Pakistani or UN observers during the referendum. This has led to some people believing that the referendum was, at least to some extent, rigged. However, this issue was raised for some years by Pakistan, but then it just mysteriously disappeared. Although this chart might explain why. We can see that Pakistan and India had been to war multiple times. And Pakistan has also seen three military coups, and of course, there was the American invasion of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan and the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, which took place the previous decades. So it is possible that Pakistan was quite distracted by these issues, and so it chose not to really bother about Junagadh, or perhaps the politicians just forgot about it. Now, what is the significance of this? Many questions have been raised in not just India but also Pakistan over why is this issue being raised only now after 70 years. Nobody really knows the answer, but it is said that it is either done to challenge India's stance over Kashmir because, in case you don't know, Kashmir was ruled over by a Hindu prince, but he joined India. And the problem was that if a Hindu prince ruling over a Muslim majority can join India, then why can a Muslim prince ruling over a Hindu majority join Pakistan? In other words, if he can do it, then why can't we? And if India can hold a referendum in Junagadh, then why can't Pakistan hold one in Kashmir? Because in case you don't know, there one of the main reasons for this Kashmir conflict is referendum. India did promise a referendum and they never held one. That's the weirdo part. They never held one. And why India matters in this is because India controls the majority region. Some have suggested that it's just a direct bargaining chip for Kashmir. Is like, hey India, you gave us Kashmir, we gave up our claims. And some say it's just to preserve some historical facts and has no real meaning. We do not know what it really means because they never tell, and perhaps we will know in the future. But again, long story short, it's all a mystery. And the current Nawab of Junagadh, who lives in Pakistan, is actually the grandson of the Nawab in 1947. His name is Muhammad Jahangir Khanji. Thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to the acknowledgements you can see on my screen.